me and Ethan have decided, I'm Duck by the way, to go check out the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas. I've been here before, I absolutely love it. We're gonna go in here, we're gonna have a good time, hopefully find some Easter eggs, play some video games, and... Here we go, check this shit out. It's epic! We're gonna need this. It's dangerous to go along. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas. This is known as Pixels. This is a sculpture that is 15 feet tall. So we're here, Ethan. What do you think?
Dude, this place is amazing. I love this.
I do
the
too.
wall of gaming.
So yeah, let's check it out. This is stage 2. We'll get to stage 1 here in a second. But the reason I want to start with stage 2 is because of these giant Super Nintendo controllers that are just blowing my mind. Like, look at this. These are insane. So the way this works is all the consoles are across the walls, and the giant controllers have all the information on the history of the consoles. Look up here and find the one that you want to see. Let's say we want to check out the Game Boy Color, 38. We're going to go across this bad boy and find 38. In it, it's going to give us the price point whenever it first came out, console information, popular series, rare, notorious, terrible things that happened, and then pulp culture. Estimated systems, this is my favorite part. It lets you know how many of these bad boys were sold. This is amazing, and they've got everything. Things that you wouldn't even think about. Check it out, up here. N-Gage, right there, we got the N-Gage. We've got one of my favorites of all time over here, the Sega Pico. This is one of my favorite systems ever released, and it's so cool to see it up here in the hall. Right here, Microvision. That's downright bizarre. My brain explodes whenever I see this stuff because it's just shocking that they released so much stuff. Behind Ethan is the world's largest game of Pong.
I'm about to slay you, Pong.
Let's get it. So we're here at stage 1, and you can hear the beeps and boops of the amazing Pong. Nolan Bushnell, the creator of Atari, the creator of Pong. Nolan Bushnell's Pong. We see the original Pong console. Hoarders were inserted so much into the console itself that they actually thought it was broken because it was so popular. Now Pong was so popular that they actually had to start creating what are called Pong consoles, and you'll see a big line of these. A lot of these are rip-offs of the original Pong game, where they would add variations to it. This one is my favorite, of course, because I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy. This one was not released in America, but is the TV Game 15. That did come from Nintendo in Japan. Whether or not Pong was the first is debatable. Nolan Bushnell most likely stole the idea of Pong from Ralph Baer, the creator of the Magnavox Odyssey, which you see up there. That is the first home console, and that probably is the original Pong, but much like Steve Jobs, you take a good idea, you steal it, or you repackage it, you get something cool like this. Anything before Nintendo is just a mystery, and it's so cool to interact with it and experience it. So we're going to check out what we can here. So basically what we're looking at is the original brown box, Odyssey. And I are about to play the original brown box, so we're going to give this a little test run here. We're going to play a little version of Pong. This was actually in production before Pong. Most likely the idea was stolen. I'm not going to lie, this is pretty cool.
This is awesome.
And it's on a projector. So we're at stage 3, which says third party, so we see a lot up there. Activision. That's the key one you see over and over again. And what you'll see over here in this case is a lot of those early Atari. Third-party development was huge in the 80s because people could make any game they wanted, slap a title on it, and sold like gangbusters. Eventually, this led to the crash of the video game market. What we'll also see here is development kits all over the place. We've got over here PlayStation, Sega. You've got all the Nintendo stuff down below. Xbox, Dreamcast. So just showing what the computers or the consoles look like that people would actually develop on, be able to burn disc, put those in there, play them, try them out. So it's really cool. You'll see in the PlayStation 2, it literally says test. It's pretty badass. What is this? So Zork.
I can't believe this. Duck doesn't know what Zork is.
I have no idea.
So, text-based adventure game, and I would argue it's probably the most famous one. It compares to is D&D, but essentially on a computer. You type in what you want to do. Go north, pick up this, open leaflet.
Is this the game where you get killed by the Gru?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Eaten by a Gru.
Yeah, you have been eaten by a Gru.
Yeah. But still, it's interesting history for sure.
No doubt. And also, I'm up here walking on the gangplank for some reason. I don't know what's going on there. The hat's backwards now, so we're getting to the good stuff. So what we're checking out here is stage 4. Control. You must have control. That means you must have the controller. So there's a nice wall of all the controllers. And what you're checking out here are things like, this is for the Magnavox Odyssey. You had this where you would twist that. Where you would twist that. My favorite, whenever you look over here, is going to be the typing of the dead. Now, Sega released this exclusively for the Sega Dreamcast, so they created the keyboard for the game. And what it is it's House of the Dead 2, but instead of using a light gun or the cursor from the controller, you actually use the keyboard to fight the enemies. So this is really, really cool game, really interesting. Ethan, have you ever played this?
Nope, I feel like I'm about to though.
Oh, you're about to enjoy the hell out of it, because I'm telling you, something about the panic of the zombies coming at you.
And having to type an essay to make them explode.
Exactly. It'll blow your mind. It's House of the Dead, bruh!
Oh, he has a Dreamcast on his back. Nice. Oh, and he's got his keyboard strapped in front of him.
Yeah, daddy. This game is credited with having the first Easter egg ever. The developer of the game, Warren Robinott, he actually put his name in the game. Adventure is a game where you have to actually defeat the dragon. And to do so, you have to get the key, grab the sword, we go catch the dragon. Come on, dragons. Ah, come on, dragons. Yeah! Let's go, dragons. Oh, dragons. Yeah. Oh, you see the whap? Oh, yeah. Now. Oh, he's still alive. No! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Fight the dragoons. Oh, I don't think that killed him. I think I just stunned him. Boom.
There you go.
That's dead dragoons.
You got him.
So we're going to go back here and grab the dot. And we're going to take it over this way. And we're going to go right through that wall. And there it is. Created by Warren Robinott. I think that's how you say his name. If it isn't, sorry, buddy. That's cool. That's Atari. That's how they did it back then. Look at that bad boy changing colors. All 4 that it's on. You know what? We'll put it in black and white just because we can. Boom, baby. The National Video Game Museum actually does a crazy thing where they have their own Easter eggs. And right here you can actually sign up and put in your initials if you find all the Easter eggs within the museum itself. So we're going to enter our initials and see what we can find today. So right now we are in stage 5, the portable games. So what's really cool is they have all this stuff. You start over here with a lot of the early LCD games. These just use basic lights and just have basic functions. Then as you move over, you get into what I really enjoy. I used to have this Pac-Man one when I was a kid, but the top was broken off. I played this thing for hours, and they actually have the Miss Pac-Man version of it right here that we can check out. So that is very cool. Miss Pac-Man, a Game Boy, Pac-Man 2. Over here, you have Scramble, and you have another version of Pac-Man, along with Football 1. So, these games are fully playable. You can sit in here and enjoy those, so we're going to do that.
Taking a selfie while doing that.
I'm recording. Never had the Game Boy camera. We had the Tetris, of course. I mean, this.
Yeah, that was what made the console, man.
Exactly, and then that packaging. You gotta be kidding me, dude. You got a Game Boy. Yeah, and the Game Boy. I mean, everyone had a Game Boy when we were kids. Everyone.
I remember having multiple games that had the e-reader stuff in them, because I guess they started that or tried to start it with Game Boy Advance, but it never stuck.
Yeah, I didn't own that, but I did have these card packs. So right here,
Where
I
did
really
they sell
dig those.
those at?
Walmart,
Really? They sold them at
GameStop,
Walmart,
everywhere,
GameStop?
dude.
When I was little, I never saw it.
They usually had them with the player manuals and stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely did not take off. This though, that was a lifesaver.
Game Boy.
Because you got to remember, the original Game Boy didn't have a backlight. Be able to play these games on a big screen in color of your choosing, because you had 4 colors you could choose from. You could change the border. Some games were actually enhanced by the Super Game Boy, such as Donkey Kong when they did the re-release. So it was an awesome peripheral, I
I
guess.
might have one here, but the GameCube had something similar for the Game Boy Advance, and I actually have one of those. It's awesome.
So down below, check this out. Right here.
Game & Watch.
Game & Watch, my friend. So many Game & Watch. Down below, you see some of the knockoff systems. This Wataru Supervision. You see that bad boy there?
Yep.
I actually own that.
Do you really?
And I will do a review on some of the games there. It had a connector that would run to the TV, and actually you could play the games on the television in color also.
That's cool.
So that's pretty cool. So here's another one for you from the portables, the Game Gear. So this came out a little bit after the Game Boy, and as you can see, it is in color. You would have loved the Game Gear. Basically, it was a Sega Master System compressed, okay? But what we're looking at here is that bad boy, 8 batteries like crazy. It took 6 double A's to play for at least 2 hours, man. It really got nothing out of it. Later, you would get these systems, the Sega Nomad and the Atari Lynx. These were not big sellers, but they would play on the Sega Nomad, actual Sega Genesis cartridges. And then over here, you got the Game.com. Not the Game.com, but the Game.com. This was a Tiger Electronics release, and it bombed like crazy. It is notable for having Resident Evil 2 released on it and a Sonic game. If you owned this back in the day, you had a little bit of money. If not, you might have had a Game Boy. Ethan's gonna Vectrix it up right now. So the Vectrix was a system that was released as an actual TV, as you can see. That is the console. That is the full console right there with the cartridge on the side. Get it, Ethan. So what we're looking at, Ethan, here is one of my favorite things from the late 80s.
What is that, Doc?
Packs of cards.
Bubblegum and Pac-Man.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. These cards, I'm not even lying. I want those stickers. I want these stickers. Bubblegum in these.
3 stickers, 3 cards, and a stick of gum.
Dude, trading cards was a thing, and we all did it back in the day. Pokemon cards for your generation. That's about it. Now we are at stage 6, the video game crash in the 1980s. You see store closing. Everything must go. See that up there? First time I came here, this confused me. I actually thought that people would buy this. You would see clearance racks like this all the time. You could often see these in places like KB Toys, Electronic Boutique, which eventually became GameStop once they took them over. But you would see these bins of just endless games at discounted prices. Like I said, Atari, they allowed a lot of crap to come through at least. And we're going to actually talk about some of the worst crap that they ever made over here. So this cracks me up. They provide 2 games, like I said, 2 of the worst games ever made. Pac-Man for the 2600 and the infamous E.T., the extraterrestrial, for the 2600. These games are considered the worst of the worst. These games pretty much helped crash the video game industry. There was no coming back from this. But as we know, when Nintendo came to town, they came back. Let's play these games real quick. Ethan, you ready?
Let's get it.
Ethan, you ready for this?
Not really.
Oh, buddy. You're gonna love it! How is that even a game?
I mean, I kind of see what they were going for there, but...
Yeah, crap.
Excuse me?
You got eaten by maybe a ghost?
I got eaten by a wall.
Maybe. Who knows? I always thought he was eating packets of gum instead of dots.
How are you supposed to tell whether the ghosts are, like, they look like they're the same color?
You get it now.
Yeah.
You understand what the problem is.
And I mean, look, they're just glitching out all over the screen. They multiplied.
Once again, you get it now. This is all we had. It was the best that we had, dude.
Just go to the arcade. Go play the actual.
Let's check out E.T. What is the E.T. theme? I think that's Star Trek. I'm singing.
I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And you're in the pit. 3 seconds into the game, you're in the pit. And guess what happened again? And guess what's gonna happen? Oh. Oh! What happened?
In the pit.
You're in a pit.
Hold up. You gotta slide.
Haha! What happened?
Same pit.
Oh, he's got you. And you NET jail.
I don't know if I want to leave.
That's alien jail, baby.
Just sit right here. Okay.
We in?
Go for it.
All right, so we're at stage 7 right now. The rise. The rise of what, you might ask? Not Skywalker, but the rise of computers. That is correct. As you look across, we've got all the computers you would ever want to play back in the 80s. We got the ColecoVision. We got the IBM. We got the Commodore, Amiga. We got Atari 800 computer. We've got the Apple IIe computer. We got the TRS-80 model. We have the T99. And we also, again, have the Commodore 64. This one was super popular, along with the Apple computers. As you see, most of these computers have games running on them right now. So I think we're going to go check out Pac-Man. We are going to play a little bit of the Atari 800 Pac-Man. This version, obviously, is much better than the Atari 2600 home console version that we saw. At least now we know that we're getting dots and getting killed by ghosts and also just having a good Pac-Man kind of time.
I think you already died, bud.
I ain't no Billy Mitchell. That's all I have to say. But few people are Billy Mitchell. You got your back, Billy. Ethan, what is this?
This is Oregon Trail, my friend. I don't know why, but back in elementary school, they used to have this installed on every single computer.
Yes, they did.
And I guess it's kind of an educational game, but really it's just everyone dies from dysentery.
That's me shaking my head, yes. All right, let's see if you get some dysentery. Well, we're having a good time. Ethan, you ready to do this?
Let's get it.
We're heading towards the lair.
Which layer?
The dragon's lair.
Nope.
Oh, the adventure begins. So what we're looking at right now is Dragon's Lair. This game was groundbreaking. You went into an arcade, you would have saw Pac-Man, that's great. You would have saw Donkey Kong, that's fun. But if you walked into the arcade and you saw that, are you kidding me? That's a cartoon. That is happening in the moment. Of course, you died because this game is next to impossible to play. Once again, this sticks out. This is groundbreaking. Don Bluth, who was an animator who left Disney and created his own animation company, created this game along with another game later called Space Ace. And there was also Dragon's Lair 2 that was released. This game uses laser disc technology to actually play. You got one, Ethan. Oh, you did.
My man.
My man Dirk. Oh, you got him. Oh, man. And that's what we call a quarter eater, because that thing would have been destroying you in the arcade.
Yeah. That's a quarter killer right there.
Exactly. Did you have fun?
I can't stand that game, but I love it too.
So right now we are at stage 8, the create stage of the museum. And they have this giant screen where you can actually touch that bad boy. So what they're showing off is pixel art here and how the creation of characters in games. But not only do we have pixel art, we can go in and change things. We can go in and move things around. Mega Man, he don't need a face. He never wanted one in the first place. That's really cool. But then we get into later what became of this. Things like Minecraft. Children everywhere play this. They create their own world. They have these amazing adventures. They have communities that build up, sprung up over the idea of creating on an epic level. We go from pixel art to pixel play. Then we get Doom over here. Doom, why is Doom important? Because Doom was released as shareware. That means that you could literally go into Doom's code, change it. You could not sell it, but you could modify it. And the community sprouted up around that. They created all kinds of clones of Doom. They're calling right now to see what ours is going to look like. So what's so cool about Doom is, like I said, shareware. It is able to be ported to everything. And since it has been ported to everything, including vehicles,
Refrigerators,
calculators, everything. Everything has a version of Doom. When new technology comes out, the first thing that the hackers do, the programmers do, the developers do, they port Doom to it because they can.
And that's where the famous line, "That's great, but can it run Doom?"
Exactly.
That's where it came from.
Put it right there. It's great. and can it run good? The last thing you see over here at Create is one of the best games, one of the first games to actually introduce the idea of pixel art. We have Mario Paint right here for the Super Nintendo. Came with the Nintendo mouse. Sega did a version of this that was a little bit different called Wacky Worlds. It's a game I really enjoy too. It also came with a mouse. But this game was not so much a game as it was a tool so that you could create. Not only does it do this mini game you're seeing right here, where you would swat the flies with the mouse, but you can paint, you can actually animate, and you also can make your own music. This was an amazing tool that opened up the idea that not only can you play games, but you can create them. What we have here is a display for the Sega Channel. The Sega Channel was a system that basically used the first modem. And you see this right here. This actually is the modem. You can see the connection piece on the back here. And they basically used your cable company, and you would download games, and they would provide certain demos or complete games that were logged within this. With the rise of video games also came the rise of merchandising. That's right. Also, we got to get this out here. We got to get the word of the video games. We got to get our love of the video games. We've got pins. We've got buttons. We've got advertisements. A lot of the times, when you would go into the game store, they would have these up front, and you didn't have to pay for them. These were used as advertising for future games, things that were coming out. And that was a big thing in the late 80s and 90s that we had. You wanted to wear your love of the video game on your chest, literally on your sleeve next to your heart, because that's where it needs to be. Just so cool. And it's so weird to think that they used us to advertise for them. But guess what? They're still using us to do so. I used to have this one, and it really, 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 really made me happy that it Pac-Man won there.
So of course the next natural step for gaming was multiplayer gaming. You already had your local gameplay, being able to have 2 or more players in the same room playing, but what about your buddy that's on the other side of the country? This was the first big steps of it. You had simple things starting out from sending one message to another computer, which illustrated here by that. And over time, this eventually evolved to the point where you had online games. Things like Tribes, Halo, I think even Doom at one point had some multiplayer stuff for it and whatnot. And it just kept evolving and evolving and evolving to the point where now you have these online services, consoles, PC gaming, Steam. The future is now.
Yeah! All I can say is virtual reality. We've wanted it since the very beginning. And in fact, now it is starting to become a reality. But back in the 80s, we were really struggling. Over here, you'll see Battlezone, which is pretty cool. This game, you put your face right there, you play this bad boy, it actually makes you feel with those vector graphics like you are in the game. Then, later in the 90s, we got what became a dud, known as the Virtual Boy. Look at this bad boy. This is Nintendo's biggest flop. They really, really screwed up on this bad boy. But I did own one when I was a kid, and we played the shit out of it. We loved it. And yes, it does hurt your eyes after a while. Behind you begin to see a lot of the other little things that they would create. Here's one from Atari. We got the Power Glove. Things that are trying to get you more into the game, suck you into the game. And virtual reality, that idea back in the 80s was unbelievable. And we are on the threshold of actually having pure virtual reality. The book Ready Player One, the Oasis, that idea, that is going to be a reality within 20 to 30 years. And this is the beginning steps of that. In fact, we might be living in a simulation now. We don't know. Do you know, Ethan?
Well, all I got to say on that is when you exit the simulation, please be sure to give my program a 5-star review. It really makes me look great.
Nasty. We're going to clean this bad boy. I really want to talk about one of my favorite consoles ever released, the Nintendo Virtual Boy. This console was Nintendo's biggest flop. And the reason why is because they used a monochrome screen, but instead of using black and white like they did for the Game Boy, they used red. And as we all know, staring at red for a long time, probably going to hurt this right here. This kid's got it. He knows what's up. Oh, we got the really good game, Wario Land, which I consider actually the best game ever released for the Virtual Boy. Ethan has never played a Virtual Boy, but he's about to do this and get his 3D game on. So Ethan, you've had your face in there for less than 9 seconds. How do your eyes feel?
My eyes are hurting, Duck.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. It is bad. It is bad.
Yeah, but I can see the appeal of the game at least.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
The 3D is pretty cool, isn't it?
Pretty cool, but not gonna lie, pretty pointless. Yeah, I mean,
All right, right, 2 more things I want to point out about the Virtual Boy. First, it does not have its stand that we usually have. The stand was made of 2 tiny little legs that came out this way. You could also attach a strap to the Virtual Boy and put it across your head, but it wasn't very steady. So you really had to sit down at a table to play this thing. And the controller is a little bit different than other Nintendo controllers. You have the power here on that, so I actually just turned it off and I will turn it back on. The back is the adapter right there, but you could also put a battery pack on here that used a series of batteries, and it didn't last very long. Double A's, I believe. The Virtual Boy also has 2 directional pads, and these buttons are here, the A, B. This directional pad was only ever used on one game. I believe it was the robot fighting game. The Virtual Boy was, really Gunpei Yokoi's baby, and Gunpei Yokoi was the creator of the Nintendo Game & Watch and later the Game Boy. So he was also the person who came up with games such as Kid Icarus and Metroid. But this console, I really do love. My parents were kind enough to buy this for me when we were kids. My brother took it and destroyed it. Don't know why. But I would love to get another one of these. And I would love to see some of the games from Japan that were released. So I think we're going to start doing some reviews of these games. Of course, they're not going to be done on the original hardware. I ain't rich. But I'm going to review a couple of these games because I think that there's a lot here that people have missed throughout time. And if you get a chance to put your head in this bad boy, I think you're going to be blown away by what it can do. Right here we have something that's really cool. It's the Nintendo 64 disc drive. This was only released in Japan. What you see are the games in the back, the Mario Artist games, which are the sequels to Mario Paint right there. You see F-Zero X expansion kit. The big thing that happened with this is they were trying to compete once again with Sony PlayStation at the time. They couldn't. This came out too late. The original Legend of Zelda was supposed to release a sequel called UroQuest, I believe it was called. URA Quest. I can't remember. Basically, it was Master Quest from the original game. It was a second version, but really they changed some of the locations of the power-ups and they changed some of the dungeons. Eventually, we did get that game. Oh, hold on, somebody's calling. Get the phone! He's getting the phone. So eventually we did get the Master Quest and release. Before they released the Wind Waker, Nintendo released a 2-disc collection on the Nintendo GameCube. And then later, there was another pre-package that came with those 2, plus the original Zelda and Zelda 2. One game that was released on this was called Doshin the Giant. We never received that here until about 10 years after its release for the Nintendo GameCube. So that game really was the flagship title of the Nintendo disc drive. But once again, interesting, but it was a failed attempt to do something different. I would put this on the second of Nintendo's failed attempts, the third being the Wii U.
Ducko, so what do we got behind us here?
I believe we have, if you can't play your electronic video games, we have the next best thing. So what we have behind here is Stage 12 Unplugged. See that bad boy right there? Will, we're giving you a shout out, brother.
Williamson ammo.
Dude, I'm telling you, we said it, you would love being here right now with us because what do we have?
Your section, my friend.
Because we got board games, we've got video games compressed into cardboard. Who wouldn't want that? So almost any game you've ever wanted to play on a cartridge, you could play on cardboard, I guess. I said that already. You could play in a board game. So I haven't seen any of these. I would love to get these out of the box and set them up, but they have set up a couple for us. Sadly, we can't play them. We got Doom over here. Doom? It's been ported literally to everything. It's been ported to the tabletop. I'd love to get this one open because it says right there, official licensed Pong product. Oh, Pogs, Ethan, you don't know. We need to bring them back. I love them. Down here, we got Wizards of War. I'm not sure what that is. But
War with an O, not a name. No, yeah, Wizards of War. Wizards of War.
Because everyone knows that you don't say war when you go to war. You say war. Watch The Lord of the Rings. They never say war. They go war. The Legend of Zelda, the tabletop game. That is awesome. Over here is the one I did have, and I wasn't allowed to play with it because I'd always put the marbles in my mouth. I know that sounds weird. I also sucked on pennies. Don't know why.
He still does that to this day.
Sometimes. Copper wiring. But this always bothered me because it wasn't really like Pac-Man, but at the same time, it would feed that Pac-Man fever that you would get back in the late 80s. This is pretty cool. I would like to steal this. That game right there is hilarious, that's all I have to say. That game is hilarious. Also next to it, Nintendo World Championships 1990. But out of the two, which one I prefer to own? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Ethan, what you got?
Something near and dear to my heart is special edition games, but especially consoles. They come out with limited edition runs of, special variants of consoles and with all sorts of different colors and patterns, and sometimes even completely different features than other ones. PlayStation 2 came out in an assortment of colors. I believe this is a PlayStation Anniversary PS4 Pro. What is that, like a crystal clear Hello Kitty?
It looks like Hello Kitty to me, yeah.
I mean, you can't get any more creative than that.
But the coolest one, I think, is at the very bottom of this case. The Nintendo 64.
Pikachu Pokemon Edition.
Dude, come on. If you own that, you are the coolest kid in the street.
I mean, the fucking power button is a Pokeball. You can't beat that.
Oh,
it's just amazing.
Oh, it's awesome. This one's cool, too. That is an actual knitting machine. So they actually used the Game Boy Color. And that was huge in Japan. This, Ethan, I want to point out to you.
Oh, yeah.
This made my day back in the day. I owned 3 of these. I had the Goomba, I had the Mario, and I had the Luigi, but I could never find that damn Koopa. Whenever they started selling those, I think it was McDonald's, yes, it says it right there. I remember I wanted to go immediately to get that, but it didn't exactly happen that way. Down below that, though, was also something really cool. These are competition cards. That is for Donkey Kong Country, that is for Star Fox. Much like the Nintendo World Champions, they held major events for these where they would play and have a prize at the end.
This is really cool, too.
Mm-hmm.
This is it's a mix between a DVD player and a GameCube,
right?
All mashed into one.
Because the original GameCube didn't have DVD compatibility because they were a smaller disc.
Yeah, it used that little half-size DVD disc.
Right, but eventually they released this. But this was a very, very rare item to find. All right, so we're here in phase something, I don't know, but we've got these awesome cases of memorabilia. You'll see once again more patches, more swag. Ah, right there, man. I want that. That's cool. That ColecoVision right there. Wow, there's some really neat stuff in here. But when you look over here, Ethan pointed out to me, and I thought this was a Dreamcast. Ethan, you were saying that this is called a Dreamcast.
Yep.
Which is a Chinese bootleg of the Sega Dreamcast that you could actually do what with again?
It had
Dreamcast software, you said?
read CDRs, MP3s, VCDs, all that stuff. So the plaque even straight up says it's a hacker's dream.
It's a hacker's dream.
Pirate's dream.
The original Dreamcast is also a hacker's dream, just so you all know.
For sure.
Also, what you see over here is some more cool swag. I would love to have this Super Mario World watch, the LCD game. Star Fox, the same thing. I didn't know they made that. But down below, we have the notorious, the infamous Philips CDI games. Hotel Mario, Link, Zelda's Adventure. These games are notorious because Nintendo tried to screw Sony. Basically what happened was the original PlayStation was supposed to be an added peripheral to the Super Nintendo. And what happened was, Nintendo went behind Sony's back and made a deal with Philips. The contract that stated that they signed with Sony that if they did go forward with the PlayStation, all of their intellectual properties, that means all their characters, like Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, everything across the board would now have partial ownership by Sony. They did not want that. So they undid the deal and went with Philips. What Philips' part of the deal was they could use the characters in their games, but they did not have rights to the characters. So that is why we got the notorious games that we just showed you. They're not good.
Wow, Doc, that sure was a fun trip to the gaming museum, but I bet you're glad to be back home.
I absolutely am. And you want to know why? This is my original home. That's right. We've actually went back in time here at the National Video Game Museum to what an 80s living room would look like. Everything from the floor model TV to the television you see before you. In fact, this couch right here reminds me of long nights with a bottle of Coca-Cola and a pizza on this side, playing some games that I just would get totally sucked into. Ethan pointed out the classic dogs playing poker, the picture frame. But you never saw that clock before. That is an 80s clock, maybe a 70s clock. So, why is the floor model TV so important to me? Why is the couch so important to me? It reminds me of not only my home, but my grandmother's place, where we had the Nintendo we played all the time, my other grandparents' place, where we would sit and watch TV. The floor model just brings something back to me. That's why I had to own one myself. The 80s was very wood paneled, if you can't tell. And it has a very specific feel. And really, it's the best. But Ethan, you need to watch out, because there's a giant Atari AT behind you.
Huh? What do you know?
Stage 14 is going to be the sanctuary. That's right, every kid's room back in the day. Children from the 80s and 90s. We were a little bit spoiled, especially with our pop culture. So what you're seeing here is a replication of what an 80s room would most likely look like. Complete with posters, a giant stuffed Donkey Kong in the Nintendo Entertainment System. When they say sanctuary, it's true. This is the place that you went to escape from your parents, from your life, from school, from whatever. All your cares were washed away when you could play Nintendo all freaking day. That's right, take a sick day, stay home, get that Super Mario Brothers, unless your parents didn't let you. This is really cool. And my entire apartment looks like this now. The final stage, which is called bonus. So the big thing here is we got a giant Game Boy. Now I don't know if they ever actually released this. That would be really cool if they did. But it is totally playable, and we got a little Super Nintendo controller here. Now this is running the Super Game Boy hardware. You can tell because of the outline there, and it says Super Game Boy. But it's still a really cool looking, I guess, cabinet in a way. It is an arcade cabinet. Over here we also have what you would have found in stores back in the day. These are hoists that actually have a variety of games on them, and this is how you would actually learn what games are coming out and give them a try. These are demo games, so it's really cool to see that here.
Jaguar, Dreamcast, GameCube, and
Sega,
I think that's Sega Saturn.
Yeah. Check out these games before you actually went and bought them. You'd be able to play them for a little while, so it's really cool. The best part of any museum, or should be in every museum, is the next part we're about to go to, which is over here. We're able
Blast to the
actually
past.
Step into the past as we walk into a realistic 80s arcade